So we want to introduce the concept of cursors in the PLSQL. So far we have covered the records, and after records we covered loops and decision-making statements. So the next is a cursor. So what is a cursor in the PLSQL? So this is a topic that we need to cover before we go for mid-sem. So when you come back to school after 1 week, you will sit for mid-sem, and mid-sem also we cover the cursors. So now, as you know from records, a record is a placeholder which can hold multiple values, and you can compare this record as one row in the database. So cursor is something bigger than that. So a cursor is a temporary work area created in system memory when a SQL statement is executed. A cursor will contain information on a selected statement and the rows of data accessed by your selected statement. This temporary work area is used to store the data retrieved from a database, and you can manipulate this data after retrieving this data. So now, if you understand the meaning of record, a cursor can hold multiple records. A cursor can hold multiple rows. But in terms of processing, even though it can hold multiple rows, it can only process one record or one row at a time. So let me open the PowerPoint. I can use a small concept here because we want you to understand the meaning of the cursor before we tackle the types of the cursors. So now let's look at this simple scenario. So I hope you can still see my screen. So let's assume that this is individual records, and this record can hold any information, maybe student information, maybe vehicle information. So each of this is a record. But as we said, a cursor can hold multiple records. So we used to explain the concept of the cursors with the concept of simple basket. This is a just image of simple basket. I'm not good at drawing, don't worry. So this is maybe simple basket. And within this basket, you can have a number of records. So in next session, we'll be focusing on the steps, on the important steps that we follow when we use the cursors. Number one, we need to create the cursor. You make sure the cursor was created. Number two, you need to make sure that you open the cursor. Number three, you need to make sure that you can fetch the elements from the cursor. So fetching elements from a cursor or accessing elements from the cursor. And the step number four, you remember to close the cursor, closing the cursor. So if you take one record, let's say this is a mango, one piece of mango. So when we look into and this is of course a record. So when you look into the cursors, think of a basket of many mangoes, and each mango represents one row, because each mango can have a size, can have a type, can have a weight, whatever. So the cursor can hold the multiple records. That's the point. So we come back to those steps, how you create and access the cursors. So but before, let's go back to our presentation, to our document. There are two types of the cursors. One is implicit cursor, and you have nothing to all about implicit cursor. And the second one is explicit cursor. So what is the difference between implicit cursor and explicit cursor? Implicit cursors, they are created by default. So which means you have nothing to worry about implicit cursor. You cannot create implicit cursor. But when you execute SQL statement for insert, for update, and for delete, automatically implicit cursor will get created. So for those three commands, insert, update, and delete. In the case of select, when you execute select statement, which returns just one row, also implicit cursor is created. So remember, you do not have to create implicit cursor. It is created automatically when you insert, when you update, when you delete, or when you execute select statement, which returns one row. Then explicit cursor, very important. They must be created. They must be created. So we'll be creating explicit cursors. When we need to create explicit cursor, we create explicit cursors only when we execute a select statement which returns more than one row, which returns multiple rows. So as we said, this cursor can store multiple records, but can only process one record at a time. And the record which is being processed is called current row or current record. And when you fetch a row from the cursor, it points to the next current row position. We move to the next row, so it points to the next item in the cursor. So both implicit and explicit cursors, they have the same functionalities, but the difference lies on how we access them. So let's quickly start with implicit cursor. When you execute delete, insert, update, and select, which returns just one row. So there are a number of attributes that we have that you can use to check the status of your cursor, to check the status of data manipulation, language operations. So those attributes are percentage found, percentage not found, and the percentage low count, and the percentage is open, but it's open is only applicable to explicit cursor. So let's take one simple example. When you execute insert, update, and delete, the cursor attributes, when you talk about attributes, we are referring to those four attributes: percentage found, percentage not found, percentage low count, and the percentage is open. So when we execute insert, update, and delete statements, the cursor attribute will tell us whether any rows are affected and how many have been affected. So the attributes we use for that, it's a percentage found, percentage not found, percentage low count, and the percentage is open. So now let's look at the meaning of those attributes. Percentage found will return true if your statement like insert, delete, or update, if it affects at least one row. So which means if one row is inserted, percentage found is true. If one row is deleted, percentage found is true. If one row is updated, percentage found is true. In the case of select, when you are selected statement, select into, when it returns one row, percentage found returns true as well. And the way we access it for implicit cursor, we use SQL percentage found. So in this case, percentage found will return false in the other situation, not this one. Then the percentage not found, you are trying to insert, but nothing is inserted. Percentage not found will return true. You are trying to delete, but nothing is deleted. If nothing is deleted, the percentage not found will return true. You are trying to update, but nothing is updated. Percentage not found will return true. Or when you do select into, but no row is selected, percentage not found return true. Eventually, this percentage not found will return true, where percentage found returns false. And we access it, of course, using a SQL percentage not found. So row count is very important. This returns the number of rows affected by your insert, delete, update, and select statement. It can be accessed by SQL percentage row count. So let's have some quick examples. We make sure we understand this. So let's say, for example, we have our program. We have a program to insert into a simple table. Let's create a table. Create a table, test Sunday, and this table we have like how many columns? One column. Or let's say student ID, which is a number, maybe up to 3, and the first name, which is a varchar. We give something like a 30. So this is my statement here. I need to close something like this one. Table created. Now, let's insert some values into this table. Insert into test Sunday values. One, John, for example. All right, insert into test Sunday values. Something like this one. Now, let's make a program. Let's make a program, a simple program. We'll declare, and what I'm declaring, let's say number of rows. Yeah, rows added. And this is a number, maybe 2. So now let's go begin. In begin, okay, I want to learn insert. Insert into test Sunday, then you put the values. I put like a 3. Okay, something like this. Then I need to check if there is one row inserted at least. So I can call the implicit cursor attribute percentage found. And since this is implicit cursor, I go with SQL percentage found. So found returns true if at least one row is inserted. Then let's say DBMS output, put line. Okay, how many rows inserted? We can check this from the attribute, like SQL percentage row count. So this will return the number of rows affected or number of rows inserted in the case of insert. And let's go ahead and say this number of rows are inserted. So, and if, and. So our program will not display the value because we did not activate the buffer. So we should run the command set server output on. We didn't, so don't expect to see the output, but the program is fine. So let's do this. Set server output on, and probably let's do the same program. Declare rows added, the type is a number. Maybe we put it 2, begin. So insert into test Sunday values, put a different value. Okay. So now let's check if some rows are inserted. We call this attribute. Something found, then the BMS output, put line. How many rows inserted? So, okay, you can check. You can say some laws have been added since condition is true. So when the condition is true, SQL percentage found return is true when at least one law is added, one law is affected. So if you need to check how many laws are added, so let's do this. Let's call SQL percentage law, law count, and do this. Let's check how many laws are affected. Output, put line, I will say laws added. So this is the number of laws which has been added. So I can go to and if, or if nothing is inserted, you can check another condition. You can say if SQL percentage not found, then means what? No law is affected, no law is inserted. DBMS output, put line, no law is added. So let's end if, and let's end our program, and let's execute it. So we have a problem where, okay, line number 12. Yes, we have, okay, sorry, you should say else, because we have if here. We cannot have another if, we should have else, or we should have closed the first if before. So let me copy this one, because we don't have too much time, so that I can type everything. I can simply copy and maybe use the notepad. Okay, I will go for notepad. I want to quickly update this one. Well, I go for this one, whichever comes first. Okay, which one comes first? Yes, here you go. I need to remove these laws, these low numbers. I remove. So I think you can see the problem we had. The if you wanted to have another if, we should have closed the first one. That is the error that we are getting in the program. So this is one if here. I will put and if, then I check another condition. So let's copy and go back. All right. So now you can see. So if you look at this output, are you there, guys? If you look at this output, which statement were executed? The number 6 and the number 8. Because this one, it's output from number 8. And this sentence here, it's output from statement number 6. So why? Because the condition here was true. In other words, it's because SQL percentage found what the value was true. So let's do this modification a bit here again. Let's check the value of this condition first. The BMS output, put line. You know, you can do this as well. You can print this one. SQL percentage found. Either we print true or we print false, right? So when it is true, you can know that some laws have been affected by your DML statement. So long number or type of argument, put line, DBMS output, put line. Should be fine, but this is a Boolean value. Okay, this is a Boolean value. You cannot print it. how do we print Boolean value? I wanted to show you that the value here is true. Let's see. So let's see, we need to convert this to Boolean. I don't know how to do it. So let's skip it for the moment. So, but the point is, if you see this is statement executed, it's because the value here is true. If nothing is, we can do the same for delete or for update. Let's say, for example, good to understand, delete from test Sunday where SID equal to 7. So we don't have this record. Let's say select all from test Sunday. You see, we don't have any record with ID equal to 7. So when we delete, it means no law will be deleted. So percentage found in this case will return false. So when it returns false means what? These statements here will not be executed. But percentage not found, this will return true. So when it returns true, means what? This statement will be executed. So let's check it. Let's check it and see what happens. So when we put this one here, let's see what happens. So you can see no laws is added. So because the line number 10 here, the return value was true. So nothing is deleted. But if you delete someone who exists, let's say we delete like a guy with ID 5, because this guy exists, this guy will be deleted. Our castle, okay, sorry, our copy did not get any value. We copy. So now you see here. Now you can see not some laws have been added because it's our mistake. Should have said some laws have been deleted because the command here is delete. So you can see that the value here is true. That's why you can see this is statement and this is the number of laws which is deleted eventually, not added. All right. So you have the idea. So when you do the same for select into, or when you do updates. So let's say, for example, let's update the names. Let's update for everyone. Let's say update test Sunday set f name. Yes, yes, you can go ahead and ask, but just wait. I finish this example. We set this f name. Let's see the value in the database. Select all from test Sunday. So f name, yes, the column is f name. So let's update and set f name equal to and set for example. So this statement will update the value for everyone, like if these 3 guys. So the law count here, the value in the law count will be 3. So which means the 3 laws will be updated. So now let's go here and see. You can see some laws have been added, or should say have been updated since condition is true, and those one is 3 from this statement. So if you go back and check, you will find that the 3 names have been updated. Test the Sunday. Okay, you can see. So yes, guys. So I saw Jean-Baptiste raising the hand for the question. Please go ahead and ask.
I was having the question about of the one below the output of the some rows have been added since condition is true. I got the result because I see where you use this number 3.
All right, I think you got the answer. So
Yeah.
one was there because just one row was affected. One row was updated, for example. But in our previous example, where we did delete, where we did update, 3 rows were updated. So that's why this 3 came here. So you can see we are getting this value using this attribute. SQL percentage row count, and we store this value into this variable that we have declared here. And of course, we can echo the value on the screen on this statement number 8. So I think you got the answer to your question, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, good. So now this is implicit cursor. And as I said, you have nothing to worry about implicit cursor because you are not going to create any implicit cursor. What you can do is only to deal with the properties or attributes of implicit cursor to understand the status of your DML statement. So those properties are percentage found, percentage not found, and the percentage low count. And the way you access it, you start with SQL, then a percentage, something like this. SQL percentage found, SQL percentage low count, SQL percentage not found. All right, so let's introduce quickly explicit cursor because they are very, very important. So explicit cursor will be defined in declaration section, which means what? We needed to define explicit cursor ourselves. And it is only created when you use a selected statement which returns more than one row, which returns multiple rows. So we can provide a suitable name for the cursor. So implicit cursor doesn't have a name. That is why when we access it, we use SQL percentage because we don't know the name of the cursor. But explicit cursor, we define it and we give it a name. So since we have the name, even the way we access the properties will change. You will not say SQL percentage. You will say the name, whatever the name you gave, percentage found. Here you do the same. You say the name, percentage low count. You will do the name percentage not found. All right. So this is the general syntax for creating explicit cursor. We use a keyword cursor and we give it a name, cursor name, and we use a keyword is, and we put our selected statement. You make sure this is a selected statement which returns multiple rows. And this is the name of the cursor you choose. Then this is your query, which returns multiple rows. So as I said, you think of this cursor as a basket of multiple records, and one record can be compared to like one mango. So look at the basket now, full of the mangoes. So now the way you access or use explicit cursor, there are 4 important steps. Step number 1, I think we said it's when you declare the cursor. You declare or you create the cursor. Then you open the cursor, then you fetch the cursor, then you cross the cursor. So in the same scenario, if you have like if you declare a basket of the mangoes, how do you process those mangoes? How do you eat those mangoes? You have to open the basket. When you open the basket, you see the mangoes. You start getting the mangoes from the basket. That is fetching. You start fetching the records from the castles, and you store those. You store whatever you fetch from the castle either into variables or into records. So we'll be using records within the castles, because when we fetch from the castle, we put whatever we fetch from the castle into record. Then in the end, we needed to remember to cross the cursor. So now let's look at how you declare the cursor. You see cursor, for example, as a keyword. This is employee cursor, emp_car. Then the keyword is, I can put select a statement. So whatever the rows which will be selected by this statement can be stored, can be accommodated in my cursor. So let's look at this example, for example. If I say select, let's say select first name, last name, salary from employees, where salary is greater than maybe 60,000. Okay. Oh, employees, it's not properly written. Or is missing. All right. So let's go this way. How many? 55 rows. Okay. You can see those are 55 rows. If I'm creating a castle and in my castle definition, I put this statement, it means my castle will be storing all these elements. Can you see? Will be storing all these rows, 55 rows. This is where we say the castle can store multiple rows, but it can process one row at a time. All right, I'm trying to give you some examples for you to understand the difference between a castle and record. So now let's look at, yes, we can have even this as an example. So let's make some examples. Using the castle, let's say, okay, we keep our example here, like this was SQL, and this was SQL. And of course, this was SQL, because implicit castle doesn't have a name. So now let's say declare, among the things we declare, I'm declaring a castle, and this is employee castle. Keyword is, I'll put a simple statement like select. Let's select everything. Select all from employees where salary greater than 60,000. All right. So this is my castle. So I will have another temporary work area which will store all employees whose salary is greater than 6,000. Then you may need a record. Okay. So let's say employee record, and this is also of employee type. This is of employee type. I can do simple like this one, employees percentage low type. Okay, or you can even use the name of the castle. You want your record to be like a castle. Let's say employee one, for example, emp car percentage low type. So these two are acceptable. I want my record to look like my employees table in terms of structure, or I want my record, this is another record, to look like the castle structure. So either you can use the table, you can use the castle. Now, let's say, for example, begin. So when you do the castle, as we said, let's go step by step. You have created the castle. Now you need to access the records in the castle. So what you need to do, you open the castle. Make sure the castle is open. So the next step will be to open the castle. I can come to my program here and say, I'm opening the castle. So what is the syntax? Syntax is like open as a keyword, then the name of the castle. So in this case, I will say open emp car, because my castle name is emp car. So the next step, after opening the castle, you need to, you can imagine now the basket is open, you need to pick one mango. If you pick one mango, you need to put it somewhere. You need to store it somewhere. So whatever we fetch, we put it in our record, or we can put it in our variable list. So we'll be using a record because it's much faster. So if we fetch, I'm fetching from emp car, and whatever I fetch, I will put it into my record, emp rec. Remember this emp rec? This is a record of either castle type or employees type. So I'm fetching now into my record, or if I have the list of variables, I can say fetch into like a first name, last name, so whatever, but this will be too long. Better to fetch it into record. It's much faster, implic. Okay, so once you have the elements in a record, you can process it. This is like getting that mango from the basket and putting it in your hand, what you can do, you can eat it, you can process it. So we have now this into our record. We can do whatever we want with our record. Let's check. Input DBMS output, put line. You remember how we access elements from a record? It's a record name dot the name of the field. I can go, for example, with the first name. Check the first name. I can ask for every record that you fetch into the castle, I can check this information. I can go for salary, any attribute of employees table, any attribute. If you know what you have in employees table, since my record does the same type as this structure, I can refer to any column. So first name, salary, you can go ahead and put last name, phone, whatever, even department ID. All right. So for the sake of time, I cannot put every single column. So also what you want to do, you can display each row in one statement. Like you remember how we concatenate, and you put some space, of course. Again, concatenate employee dot salary. So when you finish fetching the elements into the castle, you remember from the syntax, you need to close the castle. The keyword is close and curve. Close followed by the name of the castle. This is the statement here. Close, then the name of the castle. So now let's go, let's see. I can end my program here. So let's check and see what happens. So I hope you guys, you are following me. If you have any question, please ask. All right, Steven and 24,000. So now the question is, we said there are about 55 employees with the salary greater than 60,000. But why do we have only one displayed here? So now the point is, we opened the basket, we pulled out one mango, we didn't go back. So what can we do to go back and pick another mango? Because we need to pick all the mangoes until when the basket is empty. So what can we do? I need your answer. Please tell me. I'm just waiting for you guys. I need someone to tell me why I'm getting just one mango from my basket. Why I'm getting one employee from my castle. Why do we have like a 55 employees stored in my castle? So tell me, what is missing?
It is because he's the one who has more salary than 60,000, I think, if I saw well.
Teacher, for me, I think it is because you don't loop the list.
So I think you gave me the perfect answer. So you did not loop, because it's like saying you go there once, but if you want to go back and back and back, you need to loop, right? So what is missing? If you needed to get all employees displayed here, you need to make sure that you have a loop in your program. I wanted to print, you can put more other attributes for each guy, right? So now,
But you put the...
Yes, you have fetched everything. You have put everything in your basket, in your castle, right? But when you fetch, you needed to tell your program to go back again and fetch, all right? So we needed to introduce the loop here to be able to iterate through all the elements, and we make sure that the castle is empty. So this is what is missing. We put the loop. Condition? No, even if you put a condition.
It says salary must be greater than 6,000.
Yes, but there are more people with the salary greater than 60,000. So you want to check? If you put select, you will find some other people.
So why do you?
They are about 55. You see, 55. But this data, they are in your castle. But in terms, when we say you can process your element from the castle, we are here, I think. When we say you process your element from the castle, this is what we did, all right? So by processing, you remember we said you can process one element at a time. In this case, our program did process one record from the castle and it stopped. But the castle has how many? The castle has 55 elements. So to be able to get all those elements, we needed to iterate. All right. So I want to bring back the statement. Okay, it's gone, but we can bring it back. Fetch empcar into empleak. So we needed to iterate. So let me show you, because I shared with you the notes, and if you run all this statement where you don't have a loop, what you end up with just one record. But if you need more records, you need to put the loop. So look at this example. So I'm fetching, I continuously fetch. So there is a loop here, then I fetch. And of course, when you have a loop, you need to have an end loop. So, but when you have a loop, you need to make sure that you will exit. When to exit, exit when there is nothing left in your castle, okay? So if you do this small additional stuff in your program, you will be able to see all the 55 elements. So I did open the castle now, but I'm not going to fetch once. I'll go and pick and go back and pick and go back and pick, okay? So, and before I close the castle, I will end the loop. And when I loop and fetch, I need to make sure that I will exit. So this is why I put a condition. Exit when in a castle, nothing is there. So percentage not found. So if you look closely this statement, okay, the most important one is the loop and the end loop. But of course, since you have a loop, we need to tell our program when to stop from looping. So if all 55 employees have been fetched from the castle, there is no need to go back in the castle to check. So just exit. This exit is to exit the loop, not to exit to exit the program. So let's run this one and see the difference. Okay. I hope you understand the difference between this version and the previous version. True? I want someone to say yes, at least.
Yes, teacher.
Or you want to see the
Yes.
output before confirming. So now you can see, we can get all those 55 employees because of that loop, okay? So because of this loop, you can be able to get all those 55 employees. Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so far so good. So guys, I think what I can do, let me share with you these few examples quickly. Okay.